job hunting strategies. We should build our own strategy of communication at the stage of job search or job hunting in accordance with the expectations of our potential employers. So that's the first thesis. Steps that the employer might take to hire. First, the potential employer should decide what duties go with the job, and the potential employer or the actual employer should determine the qualifications of the future employees. Actually, this can be accomplished on the basis of job descriptions. Next, using advertising technologies. Yeah, advertising the job on the company website, for instance, in newspapers and professional magazines, just indicating that a certain position is open. Then, a potential employer might have a set of resumes and letters of application at his disposal. So scanning and evaluating resumes and letters of application, that's the first stage of the selection of the prospect candidates or job applicants. Then having candidates complete application forms, requesting further approved candidate skills, for instance, letters of recommendation, portfolios. The most essential part is meeting with potential employees on interview sessions, just interviewing selected candidates. Then doing further follow-ups, following the job to the best qualified individual, just as the result of the selection procedures. So these are the steps that can be or might be just taken by the potential employer. And we usually are talking about job search strategies, and the major problem is what is the point from which we should start our job hunting activities? What is the beginning? What is a kind of circle? Yeah, circle. I'll show you this schematic exposition of the main stages in this process that may seem to be circular. But you see, there are three major kinds of knowledge that serve as the prerequisites for your competence in the field of job search activities. First, you should start with identifying your basic interests and your career goals. And keep it in mind that you should somehow state your career goal in your resume. At the very beginning of your resume, you should indicate what is your career goal. So you should be mindful and you should be aware of your interests and goals. Then you should analyze and evaluate your qualifications. Choose a career path and job objective. Search the open job market. Design a customized resume and cover letter. Then go to the interview. And so on. So, and much of your success depends on your being really sophisticated at every stage of this job search process. If you're showing your ability to analyze your preferences, interests, and goals, evaluating your qualifications, and presenting yourself to the potential employer, just selling yourself. That's a job search process. I'd like to quote, that's a quote from, I'd like to expose you to this quote from the book Business Communication Process and Product by Mary Ellen Guthrie and Dana Lowry. So they advise potential employees to begin their job search process with identifying their interests and goals and relating their qualifications. The self-evaluation, that's the prerequisite for the further success in this sphere. Just determine not only a set of qualifications and how they correlate with your interests and goals, but you should also determine correctly your job objective. At the same time, you should be studying the job market and becoming aware of significant changes in the workplace. And you should be also aware of hiring techniques, and you want to understand how to use the latest web resources, for instance, in your job search. Use web resources, use networking resources. So social media also are really helpful to you. And once you know what jobs are available in your field, you will need to design a resume and cover letter. And you can customize for small business as well as for large organizations. So that's their proposal. We usually refer to this overall process as a job search campaign or something like that. The main goal is to obtain employment. So, and we can also try to make a kind of design plan of how to become prepared for the most crucial steps in this process, such as going to the interview and presenting yourself to a potential employer, analyze your qualifications, obtain information about employment opportunities, or just create a kind of portfolio that is really representative of your achievements, your qualifications, competence, your education, and your professional history. Develop resume, write application letter. An application letter is very important because it accompanies your resume. It just shows your overall scope of your overall achievements, and it explicates your competences and relates them to your education and your positions that you've been occupying for over your career growth. Prepare employment applications, then go for an interview, accept or decline your offer, so you should also be active. And I'll show you how to go through all these stages, starting with analyzing your qualifications and determining your job preferences. It's quite typical for the people from Western countries just to follow the strategy of self-enhancements. They just treating themselves as if they have to sell themselves, to present themselves to a potential employer in a best light. So you are the product you are selling in your job campaign. That's the general approach. So you need to know yourself well. You need to know your positive sides and your negative, your shortcomings, your personal traits, and your qualifications. That means that you should anyway be capable of accomplishing a really sophisticated analysis of your values, interests, skills, and accomplishment or achievements. So that is what is needed. Clarify your values and what matters to you. Making money or just professional self-fulfillment. What are your skills and greatest strengths? So also should be determined. Reveal the overlap among your strengths, interests, and values. Identify appropriate careers and determine your career goals. And scholars, those who are majoring in the field of workplace communication and job search strategies, they offer potential job applicants a certain model, the model or a framework which consists of a set of questions and a potential employee should answer a set of questions in order to get the proper, in order to get the most sophisticated results of personal analysis of values and interests. So the questions are as follows. Is it important to you that your work achieve certain purposes or values, or do you see work as just a way to make a living? That means that anyway you should choose between professional self-fulfillment or personal self-fulfillment and a more pragmatic or instrumental treatment of your work. How important is money to you, for instance, or prestige? So what do you really value? What kind of work-life balance do you want? That's another problem. Work-life balance. Are you willing to take work home, for instance, or to work weekends? That depends on your work schedules and on corporate policies. But anyway, you should be ready for any mode of organizational discipline. How much challenge do you want? That's another question. What kind of challenges do you expect from your job? Professional, intellectual growth, promotion, the growth of wage rates or something like that. What work conditions do you like? Would you rather have from deadlines or flexible schedule? That's a crucial question. Or do you prefer working independently or with other people? What is your communication style? For instance, are you a closed or hidden communicator or open communicator? Do you prefer specific instructions and standards? Do you prefer detailed management and regulation of your work activities? And how fast do you want to move up? So these are really important questions. But the most essential questions at the initial stage, when you're simply just preparing for initializing this process of job search activities, are as follows. What skills and strengths do you have? You should be aware of your skills and strengths and weaknesses also. What achievements have given you the most satisfaction, and what jobs would offer these kinds of satisfactions? That means that you should make a kind of plan for which would enable you just to make an inventory of your values, skills, and accomplishments. And that's a model of self-analysis. First of all, the self-analysis should contribute to the development of your individual profile. It should also make an outline of your education. Through self-analysis, you should evaluate your experience. Then you should identify those people to whom you may refer, and also you should be aware of your job preferences, and all this should be combined and correlated. Yeah. So, and you can create your inventory. That's simply a draft that can be efficiently used later on for preparing your resume and application letter, for instance. Take several sheets of paper and you may create your inventory. For instance, the first sheet of paper should contain this denotation, individual profile, this rubric. Then education, experience, references, job preferences. What is individual profile? What kind of information is relevant to the individual profile? Your individual profile, that should be contained on the first page, first of all. Your name, your address, temporary or permanent, and the telephone number, your email address. All this can be used for the further development of resume and application letters. For example, you have a temporary address, give the expected end date for this address. So your individual profile should include a list of your interests, community service activities, public speaking experience, volunteer work, even organizational memberships, and include your accomplishments, offices held, experience gained. So you create a kind of database for the further development of a resume. See? And the most essential and crucial part in this process is identification of the basic skills. Just you should list your skills. You should categorize your skills. How these skills can be categorized? There are three kinds of skills: adaptive skills, transferable skills, and job-related skills. So you may start with adaptive skills. Adaptive skills are the skills that allow you to be social, to function every day. That is the basic. For instance, communication is a really important adaptive skill. It also these skills can be identified on the basis of making an outline of your virtues, dispositions, to behave in a certain way and to treat people in a certain way. So these are adaptive skills. Some of these adaptive skills are based on your personality. They include your virtues and social qualities, such as being approachable, good-natured, loyal, committed, industrious. So other adaptive skills, they are functional. They can be qualified as professional virtues: being able to manage time and to meet deadlines, being organized, following instructions, taking initiatives, having good leadership abilities, and so on. So these are personal attributes or your virtues. And that's the basic level, the level of your personality. Then transferable skills. Transferable skills, they are universal, really universal. You can begin by identifying communication-related and transferable skills, such as, for instance, group problem solving or interviewing. But you should be responsible for such claims, because anyway, when you go to your interview, you should show good skills of communicating while just having a conversation with the interviewer. So interviewing or conflict management, working within community which is involved in brainstorming activities, and other important communication-related transferable skills, which would include leading, negotiating, maintaining relationships, once again resolving conflicts, being constructive and positive, sustaining a really good job atmosphere. Also, the ability to think critically, to analyze data, to use technology. These are other very essential and universal transferable skills. And anyway, these skills also should be somehow indicated or denoted in your resume, for instance. And finally, job-related skills. Job-related skills, they also should be listed, skills and abilities. Anyway, you should somehow look through the so-called job descriptions, because many jobs or professional positions, they have a job description. And this will help you to identify your own job-related skills and abilities and to evaluate how they match the items, a job description. There's a document outlining the specific skills required for that particular position. So it's really important to identify your job-related skills you have developed while being a student. So that is how you simply get information and then put it into your individual profile. But you should structure this information anyway. Education, that's another very essential element. That's another page. So the first page is your individual profile, then goes education. So you should list the schools you have attended. And some jobs, they really require the indication of the schools, the degrees. Yeah. In some countries, and so far we're talking about intercultural communication, your educational background is really appreciated, such as in France, for instance. In the United States, the most significant thing is what you are really capable of doing, what makes you efficient. In France, for instance, a real thing which matters is your educational background, the university from which you have graduated, and your affiliations with the academic community. So be aware of these cultural differences. And anyway, you should spell out correctly the name of institution or school, higher school or university, its location, dates you attended, your major certificates. You may need also to indicate special groupings of courses or enumerate computer software and hardware skills, for instance, which you have acquired while being involved in lots of education activities at the university. So also you should list any education-related honors or awards received and specify special research reports you have prepared. And also you may indicate a kind of extracurricular activities such as professional service organization memberships, volunteering. So the next page should contain some references to your experience. If you have any work experience, you should analyze, you should evaluate whether you're experienced or not. If you have experience, if you feel yourself confident, and if you have a kind of career history, you may use the chronological format of resume. But in case you lack experience, but you want to emphasize your skills and abilities, your functional strength, you should prefer functional format of resume. Anyway, you should be aware of your experience, and you should analyze your experience using two basic categories: responsibilities and accomplishments, which is achievements, knowledge or skills acquired. So you should indicate your responsibilities and give evidence of your accomplishment. You prepare those materials, and those materials, they are likely to be in great demand when you turn to the next stage and begin preparing or developing your resume and application letter. You may list also what you enjoyed most about each job, or you may indicate or simply keep in mind the reasons which you left a job. Maybe ask on the interview about the reasons for leaving certain jobs. Finally, references are also essential. You should have at least 3 references. Those references should be indicated in your resume or in an application letter specifically. Select as references people who know your character and who are former employers or current employees, even your co-workers can be used as references, and list those potential references who will give you a favorable recommendation. But of course, before using anyone as a reference, ask him for permission. And once you receive an agreement, give this person one of your current resumes. Another very important stage in this process is just identifying your job preferences and measuring your prospect job satisfaction, because the criteria for you being satisfied with the job should be determined in advance. So that's a really important thing, is to develop an understanding of the personal factors that influence your performance and job satisfaction. And here are sample questions to get you started. So specialists, they recommend you to work through each of the items indicated in each of these questions. But what kind of questions can be asked in order to identify the personal factors that influence your performance and job satisfaction? For instance, do you like working indoors, outside an office environment, or in varied work environments? Do you want to work in a large company, or do you prefer a small, less structured company, less formal climate? Do you like working alone, working with others? So are stability and job security important to you? Do you enjoy influencing people, leading them? Or you simply prefer to be instructed, following the instructions and accomplishing your job-related tasks without questioning whether they are purposeful or not, and what are the appropriate methods for the accomplishment of those tasks? Do you enjoy teaching others or mentoring others? Do you value independence? What salary range is acceptable, but never indicate your expected salary range in your resume because it is inappropriate, because you have done nothing for a company, and so that is the issue that should be negotiated during your job interview. And some more advices. You may create your portfolio or webfolio. Your portfolio or webfolio needs to represent your best work. Try to see a portfolio, webfolio from the employer's point of view, because it is not a family scrapbook. It's a record of your most professional work. This is a collection of my best work. So there are certain items that should be included in your career portfolio or webfolio, and you may then in subsequent stages of your job search process use those items in your resume, in your application letter, even in your interview. That is what makes you mindful. A mission statement, a personal profile that outlines your career goals and work skills. It is an introduction to your portfolio. An additional copy or a version of your resume, if you have developed one. Copies or scans of documents that prove your academic or work histories, diplomas, certificates, licenses. Copies of awards, academic awards, or job-related, even promotion letters can be included. Relevant examples of written work you did for college courses. Some employees may be interested in your academic results. Appropriate examples of written work you completed on the job, such as reports, progress reports, plans, or maybe some evidence of your being successful in marketing strategies, for instance. Clippings or scans of newspaper or newsletter stories about your academic community or job successes. patterned examples of electronic graphic work you have done, for instance, because that is what should be really representative of your public communication skills. A list of your references with contact information and copy of your college transcript if available. And that's an example of portfolio or web folio. That's one of the most typical forms of web folio. You see, the author indicates the career goal, the job preference, and the basic values that determine his or her professional choices to demonstrate my clear and concise writing style, my ability to design a variety of complex workplace documents, and my understanding of international communication. You see. Also, the author indicates a set of universal transferable skills and gives some examples of his work displaying those skills, for instance, PowerPoint presentation. So these are the artifacts that are really characteristic of his being creative and his being really skillful in these fields. Also website, you see. What kind of documents should be excluded from your portfolio or web folio? That's a really interesting question, because you should select the classes of information that are really relevant, important for inducing a really positive image of you as an employee. So exclude the following types of documents from your career portfolio. Any proprietary documents, proposal or letters on company letterhead. Scans of those documents also should be excluded. So be aware that proprietary information is protected by the law, and that is the ownership of the company you're working for or you've been working for. So documents or scans of documents that show your memberships in some clubs or fraternities, if they are not relevant to the job. So links to personal web pages, including Facebook or contact pages, for instance. I mean, pages that may contain inappropriate personal information. Of course, you can create a representative official page, which is accessible to anyone who intends to find you and to evaluate how you are affiliated with this social media resource. But anyway, any inappropriate personal information should be somehow inaccessible to your potential employers. Pictures of your family, friends, pets, and the like. So clippings and scans and reviews and letters you may have written, but that can be perceived as something which contains an indication of your being overly critical or harsh or difficult to get along with. So you should anyway do your best to create a kind of positive image of yourself, to do your best to sell yourself to a potential employer. So now let's examine some of the job hunting methods. Job hunting methods. How to obtain information about employment opportunities. There was a special research, and according to the results of a special research, various job hunting methods show different rates of efficiency or different rates of success. That's the indication of the efficiency through the percentage of chances that the chances of getting job successfully. Information interviews are the most efficient. So in most cases, information interviews enables potential employers to get relevant information that could be used for the further job search and even to be successful, to perform successfully during interview sessions. And this also results in being hired, being offered an official job contract. Cold calling potential employees, asking friends and acquaintances, that's another essential strategy. Asking relatives, answering newspaper ads. Though this may seem not to be so efficient, but sometimes this works. Using college placement office, using job agencies, posting a resume on the internet, and using a social networking site. Also, you may turn to University Career Center. Actually, I don't know whether we really have this center in Plekhanov Russian University or not, but I know that some of the companies they participate in a kind of job fairs, and they present certain job opportunities for the potential graduates. Anyway, you can find the relevant information at your department, at Dean's office, for instance. So University Career Center is a valuable source of information about jobs. It should be your first source of information when you initiate a job search. And among the placement services offered by most campus career centers, in Western universities, for instance, there are such items as job-related publications, lists of local, regional, national, and global job openings, information on employers, and even salaries, though this seems to be a really confidential information. But sometimes, the average salary rate is indicated. Arrangements for on-campus interviews with company representatives, maintenance of credentials file, advice on the preparation of resumes and application letters. Also, networking activities are really efficient at this stage. That is one of job hunting methods, networking. Ellen Reeves notes in her book, Can I Wear My Nose Ring to the Interview? Claims that you should be looking for people, not jobs, because the right person will lead you to the right job. And many experts now consider networking to be the most important factor in finding a job. More than 65% of jobs today are identified initially through networking. So networking is the process of developing relationships and alliances with people who can identify job leads and assist with the job search. Networking starts with people you know, even with your friends, with family members, with your colleagues, yeah? And then it equally expands to electronic contacts and social media. So let people know that you are looking for a job. Let them know. Yeah? Maybe they have some information and they share this information with you. And use social media to emphasize your field knowledge and your accomplishments. And go through you'll list and place a check by the means of those who are most likely to know about employment opportunities. Develop a telephone call sheet for these people. Just examine your contacts, and you have 3 goals to accomplish with your list of contacts. Gain information about specific types of positions or companies. Identify referrals for job contacts or introductions to people who may be helpful, and create awareness that you are seeking employment opportunities. Also, another very efficient method is the method of using the resource of information-seeking interviews. So, information-seeking interviews. Interview successful people who do what you would like to do. So, people who have access to information you need, people who have access to other people you may want to contact. For example, you may ask your friends, family friends, friends of your friends, acquaintances from organizations, your former co-workers, your colleagues and professors about job opportunities, or about their relations with those who know something about open positions or job opportunities. And information-seeking interviews should provide you with the following information. First, that is specific information about the career, job, or company in which you are interested, including jargon, keywords, trends, potential problems, expected salary range, organizations to join. Feedback on your career goals, resume, interview skills, and appearance. That is really essential because you should prepare yourself for the interview. And you should know what you are likely to be asked and what to expect from those people whom you will communicate during the interview, and names of other people, referrals you can contact for further information. So you can gain information need more easily person to person, by phone, of course. And these contacts may not know of job opportunities, but they may know someone in the career field. So use these social networking skills while organizing information-seeking interviews and conducting information-seeking interviews. So when you call, explain the purpose of your call, that you are interested in employment in this career field, that the name of a person who's been recommended, suggested as someone knowledgeable about the field, and suggest a date and time for a short meeting to discuss careers in this field. So, networking with acquaintances to learn about careers and employment opportunities may seem time-consuming. Personal contacts, they really may be efficient and helpful. Talking directly with people to whom you are referred by a mutual acquaintance gives you an opportunity to gain information that will give you an edge over other applicants. Be aware of this fact. Also, you may use the internet. The internet is a crucial tool for job seekers as well as employers. You can find a number of websites for accessing information on how to conduct a job search on the web, what the trends and job markets are in your field of study, how to learn about the various companies, what the job requirements are for specific positions, which companies have openings in your field, and how to develop and post an online resume, for instance, if you prefer online resume. So when using the internet in your job campaign, be aware of the following. Just sites, they change frequently. You may appear to be a passive applicant for a position if you use the internet to post a resume or apply for a job and don't follow up. So be mindful and do your best to follow up. If you posted web resume, so don't forget to follow that. The competition is fierce. That's another very essential fact. Tens of thousands of people may be applying for a particular job, so you should be aware of the real situation in labor market. Severe competition, so you should do your best to show that you have something unique to offer to your potential employer. Yeah? Using the company name or an abbreviated version of the name followed by comp may locate the homepage. Search by company name on internet directory or search engines such as Yandex or Google is another means of locating a company's website. Personal branding, that's another technique. I've already mentioned that you may just develop a kind of portfolio. That's a substantial part of your personal branding strategy. Personal branding, that's a popular term for marketing yourself, including job searching. So it covers an expectation that you will use various options from the traditional resume and cover letter to social media to market your exercise. So you might use these tools to show your value, your quality, while selling yourself, to potential employee. You may use personal web page or blogs. A blog in particular can contribute to your professional image if it focuses on your professional specialty and current issues in your field. You may use social medias such as Facebook or even our Russian social media websites such as Kontakte. Keep content professional, avoid inappropriate language, and all content involving the addiction to some inappropriate stuffs. So show yourself as a virtuous person and as a professional who treats of her professional engagement seriously. Also, professional forums. Participate thoughtfully in professional forums and different professional sessions. Doing so enable other people to recognize you more favorably when your application arrives. And cover letter. That's an excellent tool for personal branding. Sometimes people use newspaper and journal advertisements, though it is not so efficient, but it means that would enable you to get job, to get hired. But nevertheless, these newspapers and journal advertisements, they may be really helpful to you. They classified advertisements sections of papers and many trade or professional journals are sources of information about job openings and about job opportunities. Newspaper job advertisements are a source of information about specific positions in a given geographic area. And classified advertisements of position openings often carry information about the job requirements and salary. Also, you may use the information which you may get while participating in job career fairs or attending job career fairs. Job career fairs are a good source of job leads and employment information. So you will have the opportunity to contact many prospective employers in one day. And you also should take in advance, you should prepare and take copies of your resume or portfolio with you for the job career fair. So that means that you're expected to meet prospective employers face to face. So the first impression is really what really matters. So this first impression may determine whether you're invited for an interview during the job career fair or not. Now let's turn to another crucial step in this process: developing and submitting resume and writing cover letter or application letter. So you should be aware of different formats of resume, and also you should be aware of different stages of preparing a resume. What is information should be gathered and how it should be structured and what information is relevant to the form of resume and how to choose the right format of resume. Because a resume is your primary method of communicating with prospective employers. Because your resume, this is a kind of announcement. You announce your desire to fill an existing vacancy or position. It describes your qualifications. It shows your career achievements. It articulates your career goals. It represents your best professional and personal traits. So you should regard your resume as a persuasive ad for your professional qualifications. And specialists, they usually recommend to prepare a resume at least 6 months before you plan to graduate from university. You will need the finished document before writing any application letters. It should accompany your resume. And according to the very concept, the resume is a factual and concise summary of your qualifications. It is intended to show your potential employer that you have what it takes, your education, experience, personal traits to do the job you are applying for. Of course, be aware that your skills and abilities, whether they fit to job description or not. That's an essential question. And accordingly, keep your print resume short. That's another very important requirement. How to create your resume? First, you should know what potential employees like to see in a resume. Prospective employers will judge you and your work by your resume. That's the initial step. Yeah. Because it is a resume which enables you to present yourself and to generate this first view of yourself and your qualifications. So your potential employees, they want you to demonstrate at least 7 basic characteristics. The manifestation of these characteristics is what is expected by potential employees while reading your resume. Honesty. So they expect you to be honest, to be truthful anyway. Be truthful about your qualification, even if your qualifications are limited, if you don't have much experience in this professional field, so you may prefer to use functional format of resume, but anyway, be honest. Don't distort information. Don't exaggerate. Don't falsify. Trustworthiness is what is appreciated by employees. Attractiveness. Yeah, attractiveness. So the document should be pleasing to the eye and easy to read. Anyway, just try to get some samples of typical resumes and use them as a paradigmatic models, for your own resume while developing your resume. Careful organization means the orderly arrangement of information. This orderly arrangement of information should enable employees to analyze all the items that are included in your resume. And also it demonstrates that you yourself is logical, consistent, accurate in presenting yourself, capable of systematic thinking, conciseness. That's another very important characteristic or standard. Resumes should be written concisely and clearly, because estimates show that in the first screening, Employees spend only about 20 to 30 seconds per resume. They use this screening strategy or screening technology. And so the first screening enables them simply to look through your resume, and it takes about 20 up to 30 seconds, no more. And it would be better to keep your resume to one page, though sometimes you may use it in 2 pages format if it is necessary, if you have a long career history. Resumes are written in short sentences. It would be better to omit I and to use action-packed verbs. Accuracy, that's another standard. It's a really professional standard. Grammar, spelling, dates, names, titles, programs, they must be correct. So you should show that you are capable of checking your facts and figures, that you are reliable. Anyway, currentness. All information must be up to date and documented, with no gaps or sketchy areas. And of course, relevance. The information needs to be appropriate for the job level. So it must show that we have the necessary education experience and confirm that we can be an effective team player. We're gonna study different styles of resume or types of resume. Lots of classifications have been developed by specialists. But first of all, I'm going to talk about styles of resume, and then I will expose you to the alternative formats of resume. So, styles of resume. We should discriminate between a targeted resume and general resume. The targeted resume is prepared for a specific job application. It is individually keyed and printed. It contains information to show specifically how you qualify for that one job. So accomplishments and skills on the resume are written to highlight the skills, qualifications, and experience requirements described for the position which is open to you. That is what is called targeted resume. But beside that, if there is no any open and specific position, so you may prefer style of general resume. General resume. A general resume is a description of your qualifications that can be used for any job related to career objective and sent to more than one potential employer. And it is appropriate for use when applying for unsolicited jobs that have similar characteristics. So now let's examine alternative formats of resume. The chronological resume is referred to as traditional or traditional reverse chronological resume. That is a widely spread, most popular format. The functional resume may be called skills-oriented, skills-based, non-traditional resume. And the combination of these two formats uses features of both of the chronological and functional resumes. So let's examine these resume formats one by one. We'll start with chronological format. A chronological resume has information in each section organized by date, with the most recent information listed first within each section. That is the most popular, the traditional way to organize a resume. It is straightforward, it is easy to read, and lots of employees, they prefer to read through these chronological resumes. For example, in the section containing your experience, your current most recent position is described first. The resume then describes each previous position, with the first position you held listed last. And the same chronological approach is used in the sections for education activities or community service or in any other section containing information accumulated over time. So, in what cases this chronological format is really good? In what cases we can use this format efficiently and with hope to get good results? The chronological sequence works especially well when you can show a clear continuity to a progress in your career growth. Yeah? Because, you show that there is a kind of continuity, that you've been growing step by step, and it is a really good exposition of your professional history. Besides that, this format enables employees to identify certain gaps in your work experience, because it emphasizes dates of employment, names or addresses of employees, job titles and responsibilities. You see, just consider these examples. Gaps in job history should be explained anyway in the resume. For instance, from 2017 to 2019, completed a mission tour in Russia, or studied for the CPA examination, or served as a full-time parent after the birth of a child. So you should be sincere, and you should just explain those gaps. And also, using this resume is appropriate, and it is best for students who want to emphasize our recent educational achievements. That's an example of a targeted resume sent in response to a position posting for a property manager for multifamily retail units. And you see, that's a typical chronological format of a one-page targeted resume that, first, objective, your career objective for a specific type of position, property manager for multifamily unit residential property buildings, summary of qualifications, experience, you see, most recent date is indicated first, then major accomplishments, you see, responsibilities, education, it is also indicated in the same chronological order, and also special skills. That's a chronological format which demonstrates an example of a targeted resume. But consider another example of a chronological format, that is a one-page general resume showing limited experience. That's a general resume. Once again, it contains such sections as career objective, education goes first. See, not summary of qualifications and not experience, but education, because the person who applies for a job position seems not to have a really good experience and long professional history. Education goes first, then experience. Experience is limited anyway. Then specific skills such as computer skills and special skills and activities. That's a chronological format of resume. Yet there is an alternative format of resume. It's called functional resume. The functional resume provides information in a format that emphasizes qualifications categorized by skills and knowledge and related accomplishment by functions. It is really useful to use this functional format when you lack some experience, but you are confident of yourself and you want to demonstrate that you really do have certain competences that fit job description and that can be really evaluated by the prospect employer, and that would extend the range of opportunities of getting this job or being hired just to occupy this position. But first of all, you should be very specific when developing this functional resume. And it is recommended to sort your achievements and abilities in 2 or 4 key areas. That's an example. For instance, sales, public relations, training, management, or technical capabilities, counseling, group leadership, communications, customer service, working with people. So you should have this list of categories in your mind. Yeah? And under each area, you would list 3 to 5 points illustrating your achievements in that area. Once again, when is it appropriate to use this a functional format? The functional format is useful to emphasize your professional strengths, your capabilities, your competence when you lack some experience. When experience is not enough, just use this functional format. It works well for an individual who has been out of job markets for a number of years also. Yeah? Skills or functional resumes are often called bullet resumes because they itemize the candidate's main strengths in bulleted lists. And that's an example of resume in functional format. You see? That is one-page resume for a college graduate with extensive work experience. You see, first the name is indicated, then goes email address, then permanent address, complete address is given, and present address. And now just let's look for all these standard items or rubrics that are included and organized, placed in a certain order in this resume, which fits this functional type of resume. Career objective, then go skills developed through experience. The emphasis is on skills, on competences. And these skills are categorized. They are really well categorized. That means that they are analyzed and the applicant is aware of his or her own skills. Management, interpersonal, training and development. See? And only 3 positions have been occupied by this job applicant throughout his career history. Employment, it contains only the indication of 3 major positions, 3 items. That means that this applicant lacks experience, but he wants to emphasize his strengths, his competence. Employment and education, they are placed in the final stage of the resume. And you may also use this combination resume, which blends the strengths of chronological format with the strength of the functional format. You see, that's a combination. Objective, summary of qualifications, education, experience, and activities also can be indicated. Some additional specific qualifications acquired through job experience. How to choose an appropriate format of resume? So you should be aware of the fact that managers who review resumes and make decisions on who will be invited for an interview generally prefer chronological resumes. Then, because these resumes, they seem to be more appropriate for most job campaigns. So if you're applying for a position as in a conservative organization, so you should use chronological format because this is a really traditional format of resume. But if you're applying for a position in some progressively developing fields such as advertising, sales, promotion, or entertainment, your best choice may be to the non-traditional functional format. So the following individuals would benefit from organizing their resumes by function or skill. Non-traditional students have had diverse job experiences, people who are changing professions, and individuals who have had changed jobs frequently. Anyway, it will be purposeful to prepare these two versions of your resume, one chronological and one by function, or you use this combination formal just from the very beginning. Yeah? The process of writing your resume. To write an effective resume, ask yourself the following important questions. For instance, you should first of all be aware of your skills that you have acquired at the university. Yeah? For instance, what papers, reports, or presentations earned you your highest grades, or because it really shows your skills, your communication skills that are transferable skills. What computer skills have you mastered? What jobs have you had? How did you open or expand a business market? What did you do to earn a raise or promotion in the previous job? Or what technical skills have you acquired? Do you work well with people? Can you organize complicated tasks or identify and solve problems quickly? Have you had experiences, responsibilities managing money, preparing payrolls, or conducting nightly audits, and so on? So this depends on whether you are involved in this financial sphere of financial operations or not. So, and have you won any awards, scholarship, or received raise, bonus, recommendation? Anyway, you should, while just developing your resume, while writing your resume, you should find some appropriate balance between your education and experience. That's why you may use this combination format. Emphasize only those skills and positions most likely to earn you the job. So, for instance, you should eliminate your earliest jobs that don't relate to your present employment search. So you should meet the standard of relevance. Combine and condense skills acquired over many years. Just you should analyze your skills, your competence, categorize them, distribute them among different classes or categories in order to articulate them and present them in the right order. And some details that should be left out of your resume. What are those details? Salary demands should be excluded. Salary demands, expectations, or ranges, because this issue should be discussed during the interview session. It is not appropriate to articulate your salary expectations or demands because you have done nothing for a company, or you've done nothing for the bottom line of this company. So it is your personal matter, but anyway, the salary rates, they should be negotiated. Preferences for work schedules, days off, and overtime, so also should be excluded. Comments about fringe benefits, travel restrictions, reasons for leaving your previous job. Of course, you may be asked directly by the interviewer what are the reasons for your leaving your previous job, and you should answer sincerely. But it is not appropriate to include this information in your resume. Your photograph, unless you're applying for a modeling or acting job, your social security number, comments about your family, your children, personal information, hobbies, interests, and so on. So, finally, what are the traditional parts of a resume? Opening, education, experience, activities, special skills, achievements, and honors, and references. So that's the order of these basic items or parts. of resume that seems to be traditional. But the order of such categories as education experience may vary. So if you have lots of work experience, list it first to show that you are a really strong candidate, experienced candidate. If you are a recent graduate, so list education first and lay emphasis on your skills, and competencies. That's an example, a resume from a student with a little job experience, as you can see. Career objective, education, it's a well-developed section, yeah, education. Experience, which is really limited. Then special skills, so the student lays emphasis on computer skills, related activities, and of course preferences and portfolio. That's a typical form of a resume developed by a student with little job experience. So you may follow this paradigmatic example and use it as a model for your own resume while searching for a prospect job and making arrangements for your career growth.